let's talk about JumpTask, because this is one of those platforms that gets presented online like it's some hidden money-making method where you can earn from your phone doing some simple tasks. And technically, yes, you can make money with it. People do get paid. The platform is real, but the way it's usually explained leaves out a lot of context, especially around how much you realistically earn and whether it's actually worth your time long term. So I want to break this down honestly, because there's a big difference between this works and this is a serious opportunity. Most platforms in this category sit somewhere in the middle. At its core, JumpTask is basically a micro-task platform connected to crypto rewards. You complete small tasks online and you get paid in their token. Now, these tasks can include surveys, downloading apps, playing games, watching some videos, social media actions, and referral activities. And the process itself is straightforward. You sign up, you connect a crypto wallet like MetaMask, you complete these tasks, and then withdraw your rewards. That simplicity is what attracts a lot of people, because compared to building a business or learning a high income skill, this feels much easier to start. And honestly, it is easier to start. But the problem is that easier usually means lower upside. That's the first thing you need to understand with platforms like this. You're not building an asset. You're exchanging small amounts of time and attention for small rewards. Sometimes that's fine, but people get disappointed when they expect more than the system is actually designed to give them. Now, one thing I'll say about JumpTask is that the platform itself is relatively accessible. You don't need experience. You don't need some technical skills. And some of the tasks are generally simple. For example, you follow accounts, you watch some short videos, you download apps, or you just try out some games for a certain amount of time. And that lowers the barrier a lot compared to something like freelancing or client work. But here's the part most videos don't emphasize enough. The rewards are also small most of the time. You might see occasional larger offers, but the average earning experience for most users is pretty modest. A lot of tasks pay cents, not dollars. And honestly, that's normal for this type of platform. The companies behind these offers are basically paying for user acquisition, for engagement, and some data. You're being rewarded because your activity has marketing value for them. So once you understand that model, the payouts make more sense. For example, a company might pay users to install a game or test an app or create engagement or complete some onboarding steps. And JumpTask, it sits in the middle and distributes part of that money back to users. So the system itself is legitimate. This bigger question is whether the time to money ratio makes sense for you personally. Now, one thing that makes JumpTask a little different from older GPT platforms is the crypto integration. Instead of traditional cash payouts only, the rewards are tied into their ecosystem and token structure. And that appeals to some people because they already use crypto wallets and aren't comfortable with that setup. But let's also be realistic here. Crypto adds another layer of complexity for beginners. You need a wallet. You need basic understanding of transfers. And of course, you need some awareness around token value fluctuations. If you've never touched crypto before, even something as simple as connecting MetaMask can feel confusing at first. And honestly, that's one of the reasons a lot of beginners quit platforms like this early. Not because the tasks are hard, but because the setup feels unfamiliar. Now, one area where some users try to maximize earnings with JumpTask, it's referrals. JumpTask has referral bonuses where you earn a percentage from people you invite. This is where people start talking about passive income, but I think that wording becomes misleading very quickly. Technically, yes, referrals create recurring earnings, but realistically, this only works well if you already have an audience or some traffic source. If you don't have followers, if you don't have a YouTube channel or a Discord or some kind of online reach, referrals usually stay pretty small. This is another pattern you will notice online. A lot of creators showing these big earnings from these platforms are, well, it's not earned from mainly tasks themselves. They're earning from referrals because they have large audiences and they send the traffic directly to the platform, even with that video as well. So that's an important distinction. For the average person using JumpTask casually, the earnings usually come from completing offers, playing games and doing micro tasks. And while that can generate some extra money, it's probably not something you scale into serious income unless you combine it with content creation or audience building. Now let's talk about some gaming offers, because these are usually the highest paying ones. Some tasks ask you to download a game, reach a certain level, or just stay active for a few days. And compared to surveys, these often pay better. Surveys are honestly one of the weakest parts of most GPT platforms because they take time and frequently disqualify users halfway through, and that becomes frustrating very quickly. Gaming, on the other hand, offers at least feels more interactive, even if they still require time investment. But again, expectations matter. Some offers might look attractive upfront, but you need to think about the actual time required. Spending several hours grinding a mobile game for a relatively small payout may or may not be worth, depending on your situation. That's why I think platforms like JumpTask make the most sense as supplemental side activities rather than some business opportunities. And this is an important mindset shift. There is a difference between making a little extra money and building a long-term income. JumpTask falls much closer to the first category. You're not building a skill, you're not building leverage, you're not building an audience, you're completing tasks. That doesn't automatically make it bad. It just means you need realistic expectations. Now, another thing worth mentioning is that platforms like this constantly evolve because fraud is a huge issue. You will see often restrictions for new users, verification requirements, or offer limitations at the beginning, and that's because these systems get abused heavily. So if certain tasks don't track properly or rewards take time to appear, that's unfortunately pretty common across the entire industry. And honestly, that's another reason why patience matters here. A lot of these platforms work, but they don't always feel smooth. Sometimes offers fail to credit. Sometimes tracking delays happen. Sometimes payouts take longer than expected. That's just the reality of these ecosystems. Now, could someone make decent money with JumpTask? Possibly, but usually through stacking multiple approaches together. Referrals, content creation, gaming offers, and long-term consistency. But if we're being honest, most people are not going to build life-changing income from micro tasks alone. And I think that honestly matters because a lot of online content blurs the line between possible and probable. Yes, some people make impressive numbers, but most users experience much smaller results. That's true almost, whatever platform you choose in this category. So if I had to summarize JumpTask realistically, I'd say this. It's a legitimate micro-task platform with crypto integration that can help you earn some extra money online, especially if you enjoy gaming offers or already understand crypto wallets. But it is not some hidden shortcut to financial freedom. It is a system. It is a system where they have low barrier to entry, and this usually means lower rewards. So what do you expect? What are your expectations? And honestly, that's completely fine as long as you understand what you signed up for. Because most people don't lose money on platforms like this. They lose time by expecting the wrong outcome. I know that there are countries where, this amount of money could potentially help you achieve something, but here's my warning. You have to decide for yourself whether this is worth your time. So that's going to be it for today. Wish you good luck, and I'll catch you next time.